Hello students, I am Dipti Santosh from St. Thomas College, Bhilai, faculty from Education Department. Today I am going to deal with B.Ed 4th semester, paper 10, Gender, School and Society. And in that paper I am going to give emphasis to the topic legal rights of women, or you can say policies and management for the protection of women's rights and rehabilitation. So let's start with legal rights of women, or policies and management for the protection of women's rights and rehabilitation. You know, the independent Indian government has undertaken a number of measures to promote the development and welfare of women. Indian government has sanctioned various legal steps of legal rights of women and framed many policies and management for the protection and welfare of women. So let's discuss about them one by one. So let us talk about legal rights. Firstly, let us talk about legal rights one by one. Firstly, let us talk welfare of women through legislations. Welfare of women through legislations. That means through law. To ensure equal rights and opportunities and to provide justice for women, the government has undertaken several legislative measures. For example, one by one we will deal. For example, number one is the Hindu Marriage Act 1955. Hindu Marriage Act 1955. Be careful about the year also. 1955. What is the provision given here? It prohibits polygamy and polyandry. Polygamy means one husband with many wives, or polyandry means one wife with many men, like that. So it prohibits that practice and gives rights to women to divorce and remarry. So the Hindu Marriage Act during 9th Act of 1955 gives such facilities to women. Then secondly, Hindu Succession Act. Hindu Succession Act. Hindu Succession Act. Of which year? 1956. Of 1956. And what does this specify? Hindu Succession Act. Here, the woman has the right to inherit her parents' property. That is maternal side's property. Parents' property, the woman can inherit. It was not there before in our Indian culture. Only men can inherit the parents' property. But now, the women also have a share of parents' property because of the Succession Act. Then third is the Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act 1956. Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act. Again, this is of 1956. Now, what does this act tell? That a woman has the freedom or has the right to adopt a child as per her wish. At the same time, she can ask for the maintenance of the child if she is divorced from that person, or that divorced from her husband. So this special act, that is Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Acts, give the freedom or gives the right to the woman to adopt any child of her wish, and can get the maintenance for the child if she gets divorced. Then fourth one is the Suppression of Immoral Traffic of Women and Girls Act 1956. Fourth one is suppression of immoral traffic of women, that is, compelling a woman for prostitution. Traffic of Women and Girls Act. And Girls Act. This is also of 1956. This is also of 1956. Here, nobody can torture her. A woman, she cannot be kidnapped from anyone. She can be stopped from kidnapping, or she cannot be compelled for any kind of prostitution because of this act. And if anyone does that to her, that person will be treated as a crime, and that person will be punished. And now let us talk about another. We have talked about 4 acts now. The fifth is the Dowry Prohibition Act 1961. Fifth is Dowry Prohibition. Dowry Prohibition Act of 1961. In this, anybody torturing a woman for dowry issues would be taken into custody, and that will be treated as a crime. So whoever declares taking dowry would be unlawful. So this is another act which is safeguarding women's security, and she can be secure because of this act. And many people in our country, because of this dowry culture, are tortured due to these issues. Now next is 6th right, that is Equal Remuneration Act 1976. Equal Remuneration Act of 1976. In this, the woman working in a factory or industry or wherever, she must get equal remuneration as a counter, that is menfolk. Initially, women working were not getting equal pay. They had a lot of injustice in the remuneration side. The men were paid much better side than the women. So here government issued this act, that is Equal Remuneration Act 1976, just to justify women condition. The next is 7th one is the Factories Amendment Act 1976. 7th one is Factories Amendment Act 1976. This is also an act of 1976. Here also the woman should be treated properly in factories. She should be equally treated with men, and she should be given due respect. Even the working hours should be genuine for her. She won't be allowed for long working hours as compared to men. Some concessions should be given over there. So this act was given for the safeguarding or protecting women's rights. That is Factories Amendment Act 1976. The next is the Family Court Act. Family Court Act. That was in 1984. 8th one is Family Court Act. This was the 8th one. Family Court Act of 1984. Why this act was introduced? only because of so many domestic violence happening in family, so many injustice happening to women folk in the family issue, so many disputes happening in the family. So this was very essential to settle down the issues very peacefully, so that women get security through the law, through this act, that is the Family Court Act of 1984, so that they must get proper justice. Then comes the ninth, that is Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971. Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act. Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act of 1971. In this, woman folk, or the woman is given the full right to do the abortion as she wish. She has given the freedom to abort according to her wish, considering her physical or mental health issues. So this act was very much helpful for the women folk who were forced for conceiving. Next, the Muslim Women's Protection of Rights on Divorce Act 1986. Muslim Protection Act of Divorce 1986. Here, the Muslim woman was given at least some protection for the divorce cases. She was safeguarded for deserting by her husbands for very minor issues and all. At least they cannot easily divorce that lady for very petty issues, as it is there in the Muslim culture. So this act was helping this Muslim woman to protect her rights from this divorce and all. So these were different rights or different acts introduced by the government for safeguarding our women folk, and this helped a lot these women folk to protect herself from the injustice done to them or the atrocities done to them by the men folk or the society's orthodox thinking. So this way, let's move on to the second point, that is legal assistance to assure justice to women. We have discussed the first point, that is the welfare of women through legislations. These are legal rights of women. The second legal right, or the policies and management for the protection of women, were legal assistance to assure justice to women. Legal assistance to assure justice to women. This is the second point. Legal assistance to assure justice to women. She needs justice, and that can be given through legally. So for that, government established a special cell in which year? 1976. 1976, government introduced or established a special cell in 1976 to provide due assistance to women in distress. And the responsibility of the cell was given to Commissioner of Police. Who was responsible? Under whose responsibilities it was given? Commissioner of Police. He took charge of this cell to safeguard women's rights. And another provision government did was a social welfare department established. So Women's Bureau. Women's Bureau, in order to look into problems of women and to find solutions for the same. Women's Bureau and the cells always help in finding out the solutions for the women's interests. Now, coming to the third legal rights or the policies and management that government provided for the welfare of the women were establishment of National Commission for Women. Establishment of National Commission for Women. That is the third point. Establishment of National Commission for Women. And when was this established? National Commission for Women. That is NCW. NCW in short. That is established in 1992. National Commission for Women. To check incidents of violence against women. This was established to check incidents of violence against women and to promote social, legal and economic equality of women. To promote social, legal and economic equality of women. And who are the members? The commission has chairman, then 5 members and a member secretary. That is chairman was there. Who was chairman, 5 members and a secretary. So these constituted a national commission for women. So the main function was, what was the main function? That gives speedy justice to women. That is speedy justice. Function was speedy justice. Because justice is always delayed in matters of women's cases. So many issues are there where women's justice is not actually justifiable because it is always delayed. Their problems are always sidelines. So this National Commission for Women helped that issues, that gives speedy justice to women and inquired into unfair practices meted out to women, which included mental and physical torture. And they also inquired unfair. The inquiry is must. Nobody showed any interest in inquiring these issues. So, inquired into unfair practices. Unfair practices meted out to women, which includes mental and physical torture. Torture is not only physical, that can be also mental. So these things need to be first inquired. So this National Commission for Women helped women in bringing them out of these distress or out of these atrocities or these tortures. So next law or the policies of management for the welfare of the woman by government was fourth one. That is the fourth point. Relief and rehabilitation. Relief and rehabilitation. Relief and rehabilitation. Relief and rehabilitation, as per the relief and rehabilitation, you generally give to scheduled caste and scheduled tribes society, isn't it? So as per the STSCs or scheduled caste and scheduled tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act rules, that is 1989. Prevention of atrocities given to STs and SCs. Here compensation is to be paid to members of the communities who have suffered abuses. So in this relief and rehabilitation, the compensation should be paid to these STs and STs who have suffered abuses. But unfortunately, these STs and SC communities were unaware of such rights or such legal policies made for them. But there is a policy or there is a legal issue like that where they will be getting some compensations or compensation should be paid to such members who have suffered abuses. The next policies and management for the welfare of the woman made by the government was fifth, that is government's concern for women through the observance of Women's Day program. That is fifth one is government's concern of observance of various Women's Day programs. So government's concern for women through the observance of Women's Day program here means in 1975, which what was observed, that is International Year of Women was observed as per the call of UNO. International Women's Day was observed as per the call of UNO. Since then 8th March of every year was observed as International Women's Day. Till now it's been observed. Then next is the year 1990 was observed as SARC Year of the Girl Child. 1990 SARC Year of Girl Child was celebrated, was observed, I'd say, was observed. And like that the decade 1991 to, so after that 1991 to 2000, what is that? It's a decade. Decade means 10 years. For the 10 years, the SARC Decade of Girl Child was also observed. So what is this International Women's Day and SARC Girl Child was observed means? That means so many facilities or so many subsidies or so many rights were provided to these women or girl child. So many advantages or benefits were granted to these girls or girl child or the women folk as they were observing International Year of the Woman or SARC Decade of the Girl Child. And in the year 2001 was observed Year of Women's Empowerment. 2001 Year of Women's Empowerment. What do you mean by women's empowerment? Where we need to look into the conditions or to improve the condition of the woman to make her independent and self-reliant. She should be made independent and self-reliant through this program of Year of Women's Empowerment that was observed during the year 2001. And since then so many facilities were given to women where she can improve her women's empowerment. Now let us talk about social economic programs for the benefit of women. That is the sixth point. Social economic program for the benefit of women. Social and economic programs for the benefit of women. And so many measures were taken by government to improve the social economic condition of the woman. For example, in the educational field, in the economic field, and in health issues. These many measures were taken to improve the condition of the woman. For example, an educational development plan for women was introduced. Educational development plan was introduced. In this, what was the benefits given to the woman? Through women study centers like UGC, then IGNOU, human resource development like the UN, UNICEF, NCRT, Ford Foundation, and so on. These women were given so many facilities or benefits through which the avenues were open for the woman so that she can take the benefit of educational development. So many plans were made so that she can develop in educational field. The next was program for improving women's health. Improving women's health. Women's health was never taken seriously in our Indian culture. She was always sidelined as compared to the menfolk. So women's health was also, she was generally, we will find it malnutrition, undernourished women. So that is very a matter of concern. So government is giving much emphasis on improving the women's health. So for that, what government is doing, they are opening Indian Council of Medical Research, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, central government health service schemes. All these things, avenues are open for women, and all these are paying much attention to promote women's health. The next is economic development programs for women. Economic development programs for women. And what are these economic development programs? The government wanted that the woman folk should be economically developed, self-reliant, self-independent, so that she can at least earn her bread herself. She should not depend for everything on the menfolk. Like that, she can broaden her avenues. For that, for the economic development, what government has done is that various schemes like Institute for providing vocational training for women. Vocational training, due to that training, women can self-employ herself and can become self-reliant. Then national training institutions. Then working women's hostel that is opened so that it will be much convenient for the woman, for the working woman, and it will be very secure for a working woman if there is a working woman's hostel separately for the women. Then social assistance schemes like employment production centers, then Rashtriya Mahila Kosh, then Mahila Samriddhi Yojana. All these things are giving facilities or benefits or so many subsidies to women to improve her economic condition so that she can stand on her own feet, she can become very self-reliant, she need not depend on others, and she can improve her condition in future. Then after this, the last or the seventh point for the improvement or the legal rights or the policies and management for the improvement or development of women program is the Central Social Welfare Board. That is through Central Social Welfare Board. Central Social Welfare Board. In short, CSWB. What do you call? Central Social Welfare Board. That is CSWB, which was set up in 1953. With an objective of promoting social welfare activities. and implementing welfare programs for women, children and handicapped. That was very much essential, isn't it? So Central Social Welfare Board, that is CSWB, was established by Planning Commission. This Planning Commission established this Central Social Welfare Board and provides housing protection to weak, helpless women or the widows. What does they do? Housing protection. Provides housing protection to whom? To the weak and this helpless or the widow woman. The board gives financial subsidy of rupees 50,000 annually to those private NGOs which provides goods and services to the woman. So the board gives 50,000 money or the financial assistance to the private NGOs who provides good services to these women who work for this kind of women, that especially the weak or helpless or the widows. And there were so many other voluntary organizations too for the service of women. That is, number one is mobile creche were opened. Mobile creche were opened for working mothers who had children below 12 years old. That made their work much better, so that they can peacefully go for their work by putting their children into such government aided creche, that is mobile creche, where mentally she will be very peaceful to work because of these facilities. The next is Annapurna Women's Cooperative Society. Annapurna Women's Cooperative Society. Annapurna Women's Cooperative Society. What was this for? This helped the working women, especially those who were living in hostels, separate women's hostels. This facility helped those working ladies to avail for the midday meals during their working hours. Then the next is Self-Employed Women Association. Self-Employed Women Association. Self-Employed Women Association. This also have come into being to give a fair deal for women workers. There are so many women workers who were maybe facing so many atrocities in their working places. So they need some union or trade or something like that, trade unions or somebody which was led by women leaders, which will help their problems out. And that is the registered trade union to organize that rack, you know about the rack pickers, then head loaders, this carry the loads, then fish vendors, then BD makers, then block printers, and so on. So these women unions help these people through this, that is Self-Employed Women's Association. So I have covered all the points which was focusing on this legal rights or the policies or managements which was developed for the protection or safeguarding women's rights. These points I think you have understood, but before that I want to conclude about this issue is that we came to know that the central and state governments have undertaken various legislative and other measures for promoting the welfare of women. But women in India are more after a respectable and meaningful social status. They are more after respectable and meaningful social status. There is no urge in them to outsmart men. Indian women are made like that. They generally don't want to outsmart men because they have a culture. They have developed a culture like that. So they want their interest to be what they want. They just want their interest to be protected and problem solved. the interest should be protected. Human condition should be given. The interest should be protected, and the problems should be solved. As long as the problems of women remain women's problem and not as societal problems, then attempt to solve their problems will be very, very slow. So the first thing we should consider that women's problem means it is a societal problem. It should not remain as only a woman's problem. It should turn into a societal problem. If there is a problem with the woman, that means a big problem with the society too. So it should be solved, and actions should be taken for quick justice for them. It should not be slow. Then only problems in the society can be rectified. Then, on the contrary, they expect this women folk greater freedom. These women folk actually they want what they want. They want greater freedom, better education, self-dependence, decent jobs, and proper treatment by men folk. They need only proper treatment by the men folk and a socio-economic environment free from all types of exploitation. That is, all these very, very, they don't have very big demands. Only a human dealings, that is a human concern for them, and proper treatment by the men folk, and a socio-economic environment free from all types of exploitations. So I hope you have understood the topic legal rights of women, the policies and management developed for women's concern. So I think you have understood well.